Hello and welcome to UBTECH's AI webinar series. My name is Christina Davis and today we're going to talk a little bit about the background and history of artificial intelligence. Our agenda for this webinar is first I want to introduce you to UBTECH. Who are we and what do we do? Then we're going to jump right into AI. So how do you define AI? What are some examples of it? And a little bit on the history, how it's come to be where it is today. Finally, we're going to talk about why AI now? Why should it be covered in the schools? Why are teachers looking to integrate AI curriculum? Why is it a big deal? Okay. So first, just a little bit about UBTECH. There you have a picture of our cruiser robot. So we are a world leader in robotics and AI education. We are creating advanced intelligent robots for consumers, businesses, and classrooms that enhance and enable our daily lives. A little bit on our education side, we have kits called U-Kits. We have beginner, intermediate, and advanced kits. So you can see a lot of photos there of students using our kits. That's a lot of building different models and then programming them to do certain tasks. In the bottom right, you have Yanchi, who is our most advanced robot for the classroom. Not as much about the building, more about the programming with him. All right, we're going to do a couple interactive slides, so I need you to grab something to write on, so paper, pen, pencil, whatever you want to use. And then we are going to define AI, but first I want to know what AI means to you. So you can write down your own definition. If you can't think of one, maybe some examples of what is AI, what out there is AI in the world. Anything you want to jot down. So I want you to go ahead and while you're doing that, you're going to pause this webinar and then you're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. So go ahead and pause now. All right, so artificial intelligence, or AI, is a method for computer software or computer-controlled devices to imitate intelligent human behavior. So intelligence obviously is a part of it. It has to be able to do more than just regurgitate information. Okay, so it needs to learn and do and process and problem solve. Okay, and then artificial, so it's man-made, right? It's man-made intelligence. Okay, the second thing I'm going to ask you to participate in is I want you to create a T-chart or table, 2 columns, however you want to do this. Go ahead and label one side AI and the other not AI. And while you're doing that, I'm going to talk to you about the 6 photos here that represent programs or products that could or might not be AI. So in the top left corner, you have the cute little stuffed animals there with the box around their face. That represents facial recognition. So think about like Facebook when it's asking you to tag photos. Keep that in mind. Okay, then we've got virtual reality, so VR games where you wear the headset or the mask and it's showing you a different environment to play your game in. Then we've got a smart speaker, so think of Google, Amazon Echoes, those types of things. Then in the top right, you have a smart thermostat. Then you have a wireless cell phone charger and a robotic vacuum like a Roomba. Okay, so I want you to decide which ones go into which category. Pause this webinar while you do that and come back and we'll see how you did. All right, how'd you do? You've got examples of AI on the left, you've got non-examples on the right. So let's go ahead and talk about your AI examples. So your thermostat, along with the robotic vacuum, let's talk about those together. It's trying to learn, right? The thermostat is taking the settings that you're putting into it, attributing it with the outside temperature and trying to learn your behavior. What do you want? What temperature, do you want it set at? The robotic vacuum also trying to learn its environment, right? So it's got sensors in there that help it recognize obstacles that it can't go through. It has to go around and just trying to learn its space so that it can work effectively. Okay, then you've got the facial recognition on there. So if you've ever been on Facebook and uploaded a photo and it's trying to ask, hey, is that Christina in your photo? And you can say yes or no. It's learning people's faces. It's recognizing points on the face, features, that type of thing, so that it can recognize who's in there and try to help you out, right? It's trying to make it easier for you. And then your smart speakers are all about linguistics. If they have like Alexa on there, Cortana, all of those. So it can listen to you, it can understand what you're saying, it can process that information and do something with it, it can respond to you, it can hold a conversation, kind of, right? If you're asking the right questions. So that's all AI, that's all artificial intelligence there. The 2 examples not AI, the virtual reality, just like a movie, right? It's just showing you a different environment. It's not learning, it's not doing anything different, it's not taking in data, it's not changing its behavior, it's just simply showing you an environment. Wireless chargers, not yet. They might be someday, but right now it just simply charges your phone. It doesn't do anything special. Okay, so we're gonna run through some I thought were important dates in the history of AI. Please know this is not everything that has to do with AI, and there might be some points that you think are more relevant or that you find more interesting. So if you are looking to present a timeline or you want to know more about AI, please take some time and do some research on the history of it, because there's a lot out there. Anything in blue, you're going to see pictures on the left that correspond with those. Anything in gray, there's tons of stuff out there. We just couldn't put it all in here, so look up that information. So starting in 1923, the word robot first comes out in Rossum's Universal Robots that opens in London. So first time the word robot comes or is used. And then 1950, we have the Turing test. So there's a picture of Alan Turing there to the left. And the test was really created to decide, is this a human or is this a computer that's talking to me? So I want you to think of it kind of like the dating game from back in the day, where you are asking questions, but you can't see if it's a computer or human. You're just trying to figure out based on the questions. So lots of images and research done on that. You can look that up. 1956, the term artificial intelligence is coined by John McCarthy. This is also the time that Carnegie Mellon University started a lot of their research and background in AI. So you're going to hear a lot about them throughout this webinar. Somewhere between 64 and 66, could have been that whole span of time, could have been before or after that. There's a lot of different date ranges out there you'll find as you start diving into this. But ELIZA, image there to the left, is a natural language processing computer created by Joseph Weizenbaum from MIT. ELIZA was the first chatbot, which I'm sure you've all encountered at some point in time, because if you're trying to contact a company at all, the chatbot is what you get to first, right? So chatbots could respond to you in English, ELIZA could, and carry on a conversation. Then in 1970, Shaky was a robot that was equipped with locomotion, perception, problem-solving abilities. Shaky was created by scientists at Stanford Research Institute. They've also done a lot with robotics and AI, so please take a look at their work. But Shaky, you can think of, it moved kind of like the robotic vacuums now. Not that it was a robotic vacuum, but it was a tower. You can look up images, there's even videos of Shaky, but really just trying to figure out its environment. It would try to figure out the space going up to walls, right, like a robotic vacuum does. There was also some sort of button or sensor on the top that you could push. So it just had a lot of cool abilities that now have led to products like the robotic vacuum now. Okay, and then Freddy is really a manufacturing robot, used vision, so a sensor of some sort, whether infrared, ultrasonic, whatnot, to see objects, and it could assemble models. And that was created in Edinburgh University. It's a Scottish robot. You can find images online, very diamond shaped, had hands or like plates, but that went together so it could grab and it could pick. Okay. All right, then moving on to 1960s-ish. I know we're going back a little bit from the last points, but up to the 80s, Stanford CART, also Stanford Research Institute, first computer-controlled autonomous vehicle. The range on this one was so big because this project actually started out as a space rover of some sort and evolved into an autonomous vehicle. So a lot of stuff out there on the Stanford CART if you want to learn more about that. And then in 1997, some of you may have seen this on TV, but Deep Blue, which was a computer-based chess program created by IBM, beat the then world chess champ Garry Kasparov. So they had several matches or games that they participated in, and Deep Blue won at least one of them. Okay, then starting in the 90s, somewhere between 98, 2000-ish, we have the robotic pets that came out. So you can see Furby over there on the left, a non-scary kind of friendly looking Furby. But Furby was all about voice, right? Learning your language, talking to you, carrying on a conversation. Then Poochie, Techno, and Aibo were more like dog-like, more that they actually looked like an animal, a pet that you would have. So you can look up those. Then we've got Surrey, released in 2011. And what I found interesting about this was it was actually a standalone application in 2010. And then Apple acquired it and integrated it into its iPhone, which made it the exclusive personal assistant of the iPhone. 2014, facial recognition, here it is again, right? And what I found really cool about this is that the software, the algorithm behind the facial recognition can recognize human faces and associate them with the user in Facebook, right? So if you have a picture of me up there, it could recognize that that is me at a success rate equal to humans, which I just think is fascinating. That's how good it is, okay? And last but not least, we have the Amazon Echo, top left corner up there, the speaker, right? Alexa came out. Alexa was made available to the public in 2015, actually came out in 2014, but you know how all that evolves. But now not only can you talk to a device of some sort like you could Siri, now you can order stuff on Amazon and just have it show up at your house, right? So pretty cool. All right, so we're going to talk about why AI now. So I want you to take all that information you just learned, the examples we've looked at, and let's talk about the 3 main reasons for why AI has come to be and why it is so popular at this point in time. Number 1 is the amount of data that can be stored has changed significantly. Think back to the big NASA computers that took up like a whole wall or an entire room, right? Now you can put all the information on your phone. So think about the little spaces that we can put all that information. So that's huge in AI because you can have a lot of data in a little small space. Makes it very accessible then to the public as well in different formats. Number 2, due to hardware advances, computers can process at much faster speeds than ever before. That's why you have a new cell phone every couple of years come out, right? Is that bigger and better. It can do more things. It's faster. Okay, and then number 3, open source models. Open source is huge, is huge for not only coding and robotics and programming, but a lot of computer science areas, right? So AI, it's big for AI now because you can create your own avatar, you can create your own web app, you can create your own, you can create so much stuff now because there are resources out there available to you. It's not specific education you have to have, it's free and open, okay? So with all of that in mind, here are some fun facts right now about AI and how it impacts our world, our consumer base, the things outside of schools at the moment. So 89% of US-based companies are planning to adopt user and entity big data analytics by 2022. It's only 2 years away. That ties back to number 1 at the top. Okay, so 89% of companies, that's most of our, US-based companies, that's most of our companies, right, in the US that are based here are gonna be using that. The next 2 you can easily tie into education here. According to Forbes, everyone should be able to do 3 things with AI. First, they should be able to recognize it, which hopefully you can now that we've done the examples and a little bit of the history of AI. 2, they should be able to use AI. Can you use the special features on your phone that are AI, right? Facial recognition, iris recognition, those types of things. Can you use the Google speakers or Amazon, Alexa, all of that. And 3, the big thing that I think is really important for our kids is, can they build with AI? Can they do something with AI outside of just being a user of AI, okay? And it's important because point number 3, it's estimated that by 2022, it's 2 years away, 2022, there will be 58 million new jobs just in AI alone. So I know in the field of STEM and STEAM, there's the big push for, we have a lot of STEM jobs that need to be filled. This is specific just to AI. So that's how big of a deal AI is right now. 58 million new jobs, okay? So why teach AI? This is a representation of the industrial revolutions, the technology focused industrial revolutions. So if you look down in the bottom left corner, you've got the first industrial revolution, the big technology advancement, going on there, steam engineering. Changed the way we do trade, it changed the way we do transportation across the United States. Big deal, right? Changed a lot of things. In the second industrial revolution, in the 1830s to about 1915, assembly line, right? Making production more efficient, allowing us to get more products out in the same amount of time, just helping with the business side of things, right? And then the third industrial revolution, which had the biggest impact so far on my life and people that are around my age as well, computers, right? Computers, internet. I remember being in elementary school and being at, we had our first computer lab and we had to go learn how to use email, and we pen palled with other schools during that time, and it was huge, right? that's when it all came out. And then nuclear energy was also during that time. So then we are now in the fourth industrial revolution, and you can see there's so much stuff here, and we're not going to talk about it all in this webinar. We're going to have another additional, at least 5 more webinars to help cover some of this. But you can see a lot of the things there that you recognize, right? Mobile devices, location detection technologies, hello Google Maps, right? Knowing where you are and where to get you to. We've talked about big data analytics a little bit, smart sensors. We've talked about the computers with the sensors so that they can see, right, their environment. 3D printing is big right now, especially in maker spaces, STEM, STEAM, that kind of stuff. So keep all this in mind. It's important information to know why or where we're going to next, really, essentially where we're at. Okay, let's talk a little bit about AI in education. Again, not an exhaustive amount of information. There's so much more out there. This is just a small little tidbit. Okay, so in the classroom, AI can help with at least these 4 things. I'm sure it can do much more. This is just what I found to be the most relevant. Personalized learning. So we have kids right now, right? One-to-one Chromebook to a student. So how can we make their learning more significant to them and not a large group? Collection of data using machine learning, accommodation of learning differences, and helping students that fall behind or need to catch up. I want you to think about those programs, software, apps, whatever you use that are adaptive, right? They are either determining where students are. So think about tests like your map test, Alex, those types of things that change the questions being asked based on how the students are responding so that it can find out what skills your students do and do not know. That goes with personalized learning, because then you are able to change your approach for those students now that you know what they need. It's also a great example of collection of data using machine learning, right? So the program has learned where your student is. It's then giving you a report saying what skills they do and do not know and what range they're in. I'm thinking specifically MAP because that's my experience, but there are others out there. And then accommodating of learning differences. You can accommodate now that you know what skills you need. You can ability group those kids. You can not only those things, but I want you to also think of like language barriers. So you can change the language on some of those apps and programs so it's in your student's native language, which is maybe something you can or can't do, right? So you're meeting those kids at where they are or where they're at and trying to help them move forward. And that's the same with the last point, right? Helping students that fall behind or catch up. Those apps that you can prescribe lessons that you know will help them fill the skills that they are lacking or reinforce the ones that they need more help with. Okay, so think of those things you already use in the classroom that do some of this that you just didn't attribute to artificial intelligence. And then a couple fun facts about AI specifically in education. So AI usage in US education will grow 47.77%, almost 50% from 2018 to 2022, and we're halfway through that time span, right? So it's huge, it's coming up. US-based AI startups received $9.3 billion, that's a lot, billion, in venture funding in 2018 alone. So 2 years ago, think about where that's probably at now. And then again, Carnegie Mellon University, I told you that was gonna come up a lot. So Carnegie Learning has come up with their own AI-based education platform for K-12 mathematics. So you can certainly go look that up and find out more information. They have a plethora of information about AI. They have degrees specific to AI. They have classes, they have research. I mean, it's just, they have a lot going on with AI. So they are a good place to start if you are just getting into AI. All right, so you've gone through this webinar and you're like, Christina, you're from UBTECH. You haven't talked about what you guys are doing in AI, right? Well, it's new. We're working on it. It's up and coming. Hopefully have it out to you next school year. Based off the 5 big ideas here, you can see an image here. This is from aifork12.org, so you can go to their website. We are going to base our K-12 AI curriculum off of these 5 big ideas. It's going to be a mix of unplugged and plugged activities, I guess you could say. So we're going to have some unplugged activities that do not involve a computer. They do not involve a robotics kit. They are just activities to help the students get an understanding of the foundation of AI or certain topics in AI that we can't otherwise do with our robotics kits. Okay, so there's going to be a mix of curriculum with our robotics kits, curriculum without, and we're going to try to span K-12. and the 5 big ideas. So looking at those 5 big ideas, you have perception, representation, reasoning, learning, natural interaction, and societal impact. So those are the 5 big areas, and that's what our next webinars are going to be about. So we've got this whole series going on. We're going to cover the 5 big ideas, so there's at least going to be 5 more webinars. And then if we can cover some more stuff after that, we might. And before I mention the next webinar, I do want to tell you or point out that the steering committee members for AI for K-12, they have come up with all this and worked with numerous educators and people in the field on creating these 5 big ideas. You've got David Turetsky, Christina Gardner-McKeown. Those 2 are the co-chairs. You'll notice David is from Carnegie Mellon University. Told you it's a big deal. And then you've got Fred Martin and Deborah Seahorn, both from CSTA. So it's a big collaborative effort to get these 5 ideas out there and to encompass everything that students should be exposed to within AI. So starting with number 1, perception, how computers see the world. You're going to learn all about that on Wednesday, April 1st with Rusty Nye. Rusty is our implementation manager with UBTECH Education, and he works closely with myself and then 2 other instructional design managers, Julie Tutton and Ryan Kinzer. So you're going to hear from all 3 of them throughout these next 5 webinars, and they're going to cover a ton of information. So feel free to check them out. They're going to be short and sweet at 30 minutes, but they are also going to include an activity. So you're going to have some interaction, something you're going to have to do, and then resources that you can use right away, websites, ideas for how to incorporate in your classroom, some at-home things. They've got a ton of stuff going on, and then how it connects back to UBTECH. So please check them out. If you cannot join the live recordings, here's a website highlighted, ubtecheducation.com/UBTECH at home. That's where we're going to have all the recordings of the webinars. We're going to have the PowerPoint decks. So if you want to use them in your classroom with students, if you want to use them with other teachers, whomever, cohorts, whatnot. And then there's also some other activities up there right now, especially to support at-home instruction, because that's such a big deal for everybody at the moment, dealing with students at home. So go there, check it out. If you are not really interested in that, or you want to check out more about us, our website's at the bottom, ubtecheducation.com. You can find more about our curriculum, about our kits, about who we are and what we do. And last but not least, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure having you, and my information's in the bottom right corner. Please reach out. You're welcome to ask questions. Tell me how you're using AI. Show it to me. If you want to reach out on social media, my handle is at KJDavis1203. You can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and feel free to reach out at any time. So thanks so much. Have a great day, and we hope to see you at our future webinars.